time of Shovavim is the time where we read the book of Exodus, Sefer Shemot. The word Shovavim is an acronym for all of the parashot, all of the Torah portions that are in the book of Shemot. Also based on the verse, Shuvu Shovavim, return, wayward children, back to your God. For each one of us to do teshuvah. Chachamim have stated it time and time again throughout all of the generations that this time is a auspicious time to do TIKKUN HABRIT, to not only do teshuvah in general, keep Shabbat, keep kashrut, tarat mishpacha, putting on tefillin every day, praying on time and so on, but the most critical thing that a person should focus on during this time, assuming they have the basics already that I just mentioned, is to do TIKKUN HABRIT. To do TIKKUN HABRIT is not an easy thing. Perhaps we should take the words of the Rambam that he writes in his Mishneh Torah, that the most difficult addiction that a human being could have is his issue when it comes to wasting seed, when he is addicted to immorality, whether it's by himself or with somebody else. This is the foundation. This is what's called the Yesod. When you look at the Kabbalistic picture, the famous Kabbalistic picture of how the soul looks like, where you have these circles, and then it ends off with a triangle on the bottom is called the Yesod, the foundation. And the foundation is exactly where the Brit is. Because the Brit of a Jew, the Brit of a human being, is the foundation of their connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How you treat your sexuality, how you treat your morality, how you treat your neshamot that you're producing to the world is going to determine whether or not you understand that God runs the world or not. Whether or not you understand that the Torah is the only divine document in the world. Whether you understand that there's a God that's watching you at all times. But unfortunately today, the ignorance is so high that not everybody has watched our lectures. And many times, the first time they'll watch something, they'll watch a short clip, or they'll watch a video that I mentioned, and they say, oh, wait a minute, why is he talking about this? This is not such a regular topic for a rabbi. I never heard my rabbi say it. And they contact me and say, listen, Rabbi, why are you being so negative? Why are you talking about such a disgusting topic like TIKKUN HABRIT and wasting seed? It's an ugly subject. Don't you want to just teach Torah instead? They're so ignorant, they don't realize this is the foundation of the Torah. Without having a kosher brit, there is no Torah. And that's why we see it all the way from the beginning of the Torah, from Adam Harishon, who actually himself ended up leaving Chava for 130 years almost, ended up wasting seed, it ended up coming out while he was asleep, which produced many, many demons that are damaging the world until this day. And this issue continued to create bad into the world all the way to the 10 generations later of Noach. And the generation of Noach was full of wicked people, to the extent that there was only one person in his family that was righteous enough to let the world continue existing, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided to destroy the entire world. And the Zohar HaKadosh says that the only reason why the world lost its right to exist, they had many sins have happened back then and still happen today, but yet the world exists. Why did the world get to such a point? Because they literally wasted seed so much that it wasn't enough for them. So what did they do? They became immoral with people. That wasn't enough for them. Immorality with people wasn't enough. They started becoming homosexuals. That's what the Zohar says. They started becoming homosexuals. But even that wasn't enough for them, because when you're immoral and you follow the addiction, it gets worse and worse, no different than crack and cocaine and the rest of the horrendous drugs in the world. Immorality with self, immorality with another person, immorality with the same sex. And that wasn't enough. What they do, they legalized gay marriage. They made it a holy event. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds like I'm telling you the news. It is the news, unfortunately. It's the news of today, and it's the news of Parashat Noach. Now, Rabotai Yekarim, this specific time is an auspicious time to do TIKKUN HABRIT. And briefly, even though we have more than 60, maybe even 70 lectures about this topic, again, it's never enough. In order to do teshuvah for it, in order to relieve yourself from going to Gehenna forever. The person that wastes seed and dies without doing teshuvah goes to Gehenna forever. There is nothing that anyone can do for them if they die. That's a reality. It's not an assumption. It's a reality. Just like a Mechalel Shabbat. A Jew that violates Shabbat without doing teshuvah for it, he violates Shabbat on purpose, dies, there's nothing you can do for him. Why? He's in Gehenna forever. That's just a reality. There are certain things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I hate these things. You do them without fixing it, even though I'm going to give you a bunch of chances to do it. You don't fix it, we're finished. The relationship is cut off permanently. First and foremost, just like any other sin you want to do teshuvah for, the first thing is stop it. Stop making the sin. Stop wasting seed. There is no teshuvah without stopping. You can't say I'm sorry and that you stole money and continue stealing. You can't say I'm sorry for violating Shabbat and you keep violating Shabbat. You can't say I'm sorry for wasting seed and you continue wasting seed a few times every week. It doesn't work that way. You have to stop. Second thing is they have to put a fence around themselves, meaning that they have to get themselves to the point where they're not putting themselves in harm's way. If you know the certain amount of types of people that you spend time with, they cause you to sin, whether that's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, friends that you hang out with, certain places that you go to, even a workplace, whatever it is, these places cause you to sin, you have to abandon ship. You can't go to those places. Again, the only amount that's correct is 0. Anything above that, it's too dangerous. Why? You've already failed with her a few times. You've already failed with him. You've already failed with that. You can't allow yourself to put yourself in harm's way. So you have to put a fence. Now, how do you know what fence to put? That's where the education comes from. You have to educate yourself. That's step number 2, and it's part of putting a fence around yourself. Step number 3, you have to distance yourself from that sin long enough where you realize how bad it is. You have to educate yourself about it and distance yourself, meaning stop for an extended period of time to know that what you've done is wrong and feel bad for it. Feel bad for that you've actually sinned. A day later, you have to feel bad about it. A week later, you have to feel bad about it. Why? That's part of your teshuvah, the praying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and admitting to him that you've made this sin. Literally, part of the teshuvah, the Gemara Masechet Yoma says, and also the Rambam Paskins La'alecha, and also the Chinuch talks about it. One of the mitzvot of teshuvah is to admit that you've made the sin to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now you're going to say, well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu already knows that I sinned. Yes, but when you admit it in an open voice, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm so sorry that I sinned against you. I'm so sorry I went with a goya. I'm so sorry that I went with a midah. I'm so sorry I did all these things against you. I'm sorry. When you say those things out loud, it starts to touch your neshama. It starts to touch your heart. It actually brings you a little bit of embarrassment, which is good for the sake of teshuvah. This is the 3rd step. You have to get to a point where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is which is the 4th step. HaKadosh Baruch Hu testifies for you in the Bet Din of Shamayim, you have done teshuvah. Now what happens if you fail 6 months down the road or 6 years down the road, Chaz v'Shalom, or anything else? You start teshuvah again. Whatever you've done teshuvah for, you did teshuvah for, you have to start again. Not for the past. The past you've already done, but you have to do teshuvah for what you've done recently. Point is that you have to fix it. Now this is the basics of teshuvah for all sins. Stop. Build yourself a fence, get to a point of sorrow where you're apologizing for it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and get to a level where Hashem can testify for you that you've done teshuvah.
One of the things that I've been speaking against over the last several years, that's mamash the Satan himself attacking Am Yisrael with cash advance.
Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
They are part of creating the next Holocaust that's coming to America.
How to spot the criminal, how to spot the crooks that are misleading communities. What does the Talmud hint about social media and its harms to relationships? If you are one of these new Jewish podcasters, this section is for you.
Chachamim, not only did they say that wigs are not good, but it can cause harm to the whole nation.